Viewers, welcome to the talk show Promise Bangladesh, sponsored by Crown Cement. And today we have got two special guests. One is Professor Kalimullah. Need not to introduce him anymore. He is what he is.
Thank you.
Other being Professor Dr. Sabir Ahmed Choudhury. He is the Chairman, Department of Peace and Conflict Studies, Dhaka University. And our main focal points are geopolitics and current issues in Bangladesh. Well, Mr. Sabir Choudhury, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
Fine.
Thank you.
Today we'll start with a very simple, tricky question it is. You are Chairman, Department of Peace and Conflict Studies. And what is your understanding about peace? What does it mean?
Peace is a very, multidisciplinary and broad concept. In one sense, if I would like to say in a narrow sense, it's just the absence of violence. But when you are thinking and from a broader lens, you may say that it's ensuring social justice, upliftment of human rights, ensuring good governance, this kind of things. So, in the context of a country when the human rights is prevailing and you can ensure social justice, ensure good governance, these kind of things, then you may say that peace is prevailing. So, these are the sort of concept in a nutshell.
Do you think peace is prevailing in Bangladesh, at least in field of politics?
It's difficult to say, but the thing is, peace is a concept when we always try to ensure the optimum goal. This is the optimum goal. But the thing is, it's a process and we are trying our level best to ensure this kind of things. But when different parties or different stakeholders are on ground, so it's usual in different countries that they are fighting with each other, have some conflicting issues like that. So in many ways, some conflicts are in the latent stage, but when you want to ensure peace, you have to understand this kind of stages and take necessary initiatives. Otherwise, the situation sometimes will be out of your control, and it is difficult for you to bring optimum development and sustainability, ensuring sustainability in the country in terms of development, good governance and other things.
Thank you very much. Professor Kalimullah, you are traveling to many areas. Then what Professor Sabir says about the peace and conflict resolution? Peace means absence of violence plus presence of justice.
Definitely.
What it says. So what is your understanding? How it is working in Bangladesh?
Well, we started with our liberation struggle. It was quite violent, I would say, conflictual. And because the Pakistani junta refused to honor the people's verdict of 1970 elections, that's why this situation occurred. And the liberation struggle of long 9 months, we achieved victory. And since then, in our country, we are enjoying peace and tranquility in one form or another, except some insurgency situation in the hills, hill districts of Rangamati, Khagrachari and Bandarban. But with the signing of peace accord, we could come up with a breakthrough. However, with the advent of Rohingya refugees, the situation in our Myanmar border worsened, and but again we gained strength through the signing of land boundary agreement with India. So the long-standing issue of enclaves has been settled, and with the approach of 12th Parliament election, suddenly the situation has become topsy-turvy. The opposition has started waging non-cooperation movement in a way. To start with, Hartal and siege program has already been on, and they have prepared themselves for embracing non-cooperation movement. For a couple of years, they were following the footsteps of Mahatma Gandhi and were mobilizing people in a peaceful manner. But since 28th of October, the scenario has changed. Whom to blame, that's a different issue. I'm not going to enter into that debate. But the reality is that PNP and its allies, they have taken a 180 somersault turn. So, election is approaching. The Constitutional Body Election Commission is almost prepared to declare the schedule. They have already conferred with His Excellency the President of the country. He has given his nodding. Now, Commission will have to sort of convene a formal meeting and prepare the schedule, and the Honorable Chief Election Commissioner will have to address the nation. It's customary. The eve of every election, general election, the person concerned who is in charge of running the commission addresses the nation. So, till now, this is the situation, yes.
Thank you very much. Dr. Sabir, you know very well that there is a Nobel laureate Peace Prize all over the world, and every year it is given to such a person who has contributed a lot in the field of negotiation on peace resolution. In Bangladesh, there is a Nobel laureate, this is Dr. Purves Mohammad Yunus. What the contribution he made in the field of peace in your analysis?
Actually, he is an economist, so economics is not far away in contributing to the society. His program with microcredit and contribution to ensure the development of the people, especially in the rural areas, has a lot of impact. And the Nobel Peace Committee, before identifying the right person, they analyzed what was his contribution all over the period. So that's why for the microcredit programs, the contribution of Grameen Bank and the associate works he has done so far, they identified himself as a peacemaker in the society who contributed positively to bring change in the life of the people. So in this way, they identified him for the winner of the Peace Prize. So it varies from time to time. Sometimes they identified some people who has contributed for conflict resolution or wartime situation. But there are few exceptions. And the thing is, his concept of social justice, social entrepreneurship, this kind of things are a little new in the discussion and debate of development all over the world. That's why he is highly recognized in different sort of understanding of global development, the development of the poor people especially.
Thank you very much. Professor Kalimullah, you know very well there is a lot of debates on Nobel Peace Prize, especially Aung San Suu Kyi. He got the appropriate prize, but what he did with the Bangladeshi people we know very well. At the same time, we know Mr. Lee Dak-thu, I think he's from Korea. Paris Peace Accord, he was awarded the Peace Prize. He refused to accept it, but Dr. Henry Kissinger accepted it. He says, the very logic of giving Peace Prize to me does not exist because still there is conflict.
Right.
Even Mr. Barack Obama, before he is contributing anything in this area, he was given Peace Award. And this is very much deviation from the original purpose of the Peace Prize.
Right.
And do you think Nobel Peace Prize is a kind of helping a person to get strong hold from different perspectives?
Well, it is not like awarding a Nobel Prize for a person's contribution to a discipline like physics or economics. It's for a nebulous purpose, peace. It may have a beginning but no end, as far as I know. So it has its own politics. Those who nominate, they have a scheme, perhaps, and those who finally confer, they also take into consideration the person concern's packaging and marketing effort. For example, our Nobel laureate, Professor Yunus, he actually, along with his institution, Grameen, has become the recipient of this prestigious award, and the first person from the developing world who received a Nobel Prize was Mr. Rabindranath Tagore in 1913. So in those days, the world was under colonial subjugation, and emergence of a Nobel laureate in a colonized entity mattered a lot. But with the passage of time, it has become business as usual. So you'll find maybe it has been conferred to a dodgy person or to a dodgy institution. Who knows? So it has a mixed sort of impression. So that's what I take.
The whole world is struggling to find out a proper way, so it's also difficult for me to say something. But the thing is, at first we have to understand the situation. The thing is, this government, they so far come up with many development projects, and in real sense there are some sort of development in the life of the people, and mostly some visible developments took place in different sort of ways, like the Padda River and the metro rail flyovers, this kind of things. And we progressed in some other ways, the use of atomic energy in power sector and some other developments. So it changed the life of the people a lot. There were a lot of development in the peacekeeping operations in the government sector and in dealing with the remittances. But in the last couple of months, or we can say more than that, there are a sudden fall in the coming of reserve, the remittances and other things. So these things are very difficult and complicated for the government to deal with. And economists for a long time, they are saying that government should take different initiatives which are not so far that successful. And in the other way, this government from more than close to 15 years, they are in power. And the opposition, they are trying their level best to come up in the state power. But the thing is, there are some issues as well. In the index of the Freedom House, the score of our country is not that good. We scored 40 out of 100. In the sector of civil liberties, political freedom, our score not as well good. And the human development index, so far we are not in very good stages. Our rank is 129 out of 193 countries. So these things matters. And there are some other things we understand very well, the dynamics of the global powers. It changed a lot in the last few years. So we understand the aggression of Russia in Ukraine war, the situation of Israel and Gaza, the situation in Afghanistan, it just changed a lot. So these kind of things had huge impact in the global economy. And we understand the position of China. China has come across and developed a lot in their economic development index especially. So these kind of things changed the scenario of the global dynamics, the scenario of the global powers. So that's why South Asia is very important now. We know the role of India, Russia, China. So Russia with these two other countries, they would like to have some sort of impact in Asia, especially in South Asia. So it's also a matter of thinking for US as well. And the impact and the relevance of global power in the dynamics of our political scenario is very relevant and important. So all of these things make it very complicated. And the thing is, this government is very close and maybe a few days to complete their tenure, and they're going to call the election commission is declaring the schedule. So this way, and most of the leaders of the opposition, they are in custody. So in this situation, it is very difficult to come up with a solution. The thing is, which is important in this context, that the global powers and the international community, they want a free, fair election where the most important things ensuring human rights in the lens of ensuring voting rights for the people. And it's a very holistic and comprehensive term. But the thing is, at this moment, ensuring this kind of rights, it's sort of way, it's difficult because we need to have a very acceptable position for the opposition to ensuring the rights of their supporters.
Thank you very much. I will come to again. Ensuring the space for the opposition, very important talks Professor Sabir Ahmed Choudhury uttered. And you know very well that we saw peaceful demonstration by BNP and peaceful process by Awami League. And they claim they are non-violent indeed. But what the reality says and what are the conclusions like to take place in the coming days?
Well, since 28th of October 2023, the course has changed. The scenario has taken a dramatic turn from better to worse, I would say. And whom to blame? That only the international investigation would be able to ascertain. You know, lately European Union has come up with a resolution with reference to the demand to release former Deputy Attorney General Advocate Adilur Rahman Khan Shubro and his deputy Nasiruddin Alan. And there they mentioned strongly worded sort of suggestions that any deviation from the established norm must be investigated and ascertained by international actors. So with reference to that, say lately we came to know that an American team of investigators, they're in the town and they're looking into the matter. So we'll have to wait and see what they come up with, and after that we'll be able to tell.
Side by side, there is a question and asking to you. You know very well that Blinken at this very moment visiting India.
Okay.
And Mr.
And
Peter
also
Haas,
Secretary of Defense.
Mr. Peter Haas, who's the American ambassador to Bangladesh, he also went there.
Right.
It is assumed definitely there must be some sorts of talks about Bangladesh.
Definitely.
And Election Commission is yet to announce the
Schedule. Yeah.
They called on the president. They're waiting for the right time, right moment. And what are your assumptions about the talks being held in Delhi?
Well, no doubt it's bilateral in nature, but again, Delhi was the seat of government for the whole region, involving almost all SAARC countries. And the legacy is there. Delhi, this dialogue or talk will pave the way for the future course of actions with reference to India and USA as partners Quad arrangement. But alongside that, if you try to examine the Monroe Doctrine, so America is for the Americans. So, Bangladesh is the backyard of India, and India acted as the surrogate mother during our liberation war. So, from that perspective, India matters a lot if we think with reference to Bangladesh. And since the American envoy on the ground, His Excellency Peter Haas, the ambassador, has gone to Delhi, it has other significance too. And the American investigation team is in the town again, I told you. So, within a couple of days, the future of this region might take a shape, and we'll be able to know what is going to happen in near days to come.
Thank you very much, Professor Kalimullah. Dr. Sabir Ahmed Chaudhary, Professor Kalimullah named non-Monroe Doctrine. Mr. John Kerry, the former Secretary of State of America, he said Monroe Doctrine is dead. And I then wrote a very big article, which was published in the foreign journals. Do you think Monroe Doctrine is going to get live in South Asian perspective?
At this stage, it is difficult to say that whether we're going to revive the situation. But the thing is, this conflicts where there are some other dynamics which will play important role. The thing is, the role of what Professor Kalimullah was saying, the role of India is very vital in the context of South Asia. And the thing is, this kind of, though it is bilateral in nature, but when they sit together, maybe there's some sort of discussion in the future scenario. And to some extent, we are, not in a good position to understand the world or the dynamics of the global powers, because there are so many things, still we are not in that stage to deal these global powers in such a way. So for that reason, we need to deal these things in a diplomatic way. So this kind of scenario is important, and the way we are giving political statements and other things, it will not very favorable for us. So it is very complicated, and in the global scenario we have peacekeeping missions. The European Union and the Europe and US is our big markets. So we have to understand this in a proper way. Maybe there are some other global powers, but at this stage mostly they are giving lip services. So this way this is the time to deal with these things, and we need to wait for a couple of days what will be the decision they will make to ensure security and global stability in South Asia, the stability of South Asia, because it's also they're one of the mandate in this meeting. So that's why we need to wait for the outcome of this meeting.
Well, you know, lately bipartisan pre-election assessment mission led by IRI and NDI came here, and they have come up with 5-point recommendations. The first one deals with what you are suggesting, dialogue and consensus, understanding. And in line with that, we found that His Excellency the Ambassador of the United States of America to Bangladesh, Mr. Peter Haas, he went to the Election Commission, met with Honorable Chief Election Commissioner Kazi Habibul Awal and his esteemed colleague, Honorable Commissioner, Brigadier General Retired Ahsan Hamid Khan, and respected Secretary of the Election Commission, Mr. Jahangir. And after conferring with them, he decided to meet the press and suggested that Election Commission should convene a dialogue involving all the registered political parties to the tune of 44. And Election Commission gladly accepted that suggestion and materialized that the last Saturday. They invited all 44 political parties in two groups, 22 plus 22, in between this lunch break. But it was predictable. We knew that this dialogue must involve BNP and its allies, and none of those parties turned up. So Election Commission could say that we can put a tick mark in the box. We have arranged the dialogue, but the real aim was not fulfilled. So in such circumstances, there's only one option left, I'd say, formally. His Excellency the President of the country, Mr. Shahabuddin, he can sort of invite all the political party stalwarts for a cup of tea, like his predecessor in Bangabhavan. And or if that fails, for example, and it's President's prerogative, I cannot put myself in his shoes, but there can be international mediation as well. International community might step in and try to come up with a solution too, because we cannot be myopic, we cannot be put ourselves in a tunnel where there is no end. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Saber Ahmed Choudhury, we know very well the power and functions of President inserted in the Constitution of Bangladesh are very limited, and he cannot play a role from his own, because each and every step he has to talk to the Prime Minister, and it is in the Constitution. And we have seen during the time of Shahabuddin Ahmed and later President, we have seen all the President. So almost they are like a figurehead President. And under these circumstances, what the role President can play, because Constitution doesn't permit him to do so. He is under the shroud of political obligations, at the same time constitutional obligations. Do you feel the President has still any space to play a role?
As in the position, maybe there are some sort of bindings, but the thing is, person matters, personality matters. And in different negotiation table, mediation table, we found that the role different persons played as a person, it's quite different. So still he can come up with some suggestions, or because he is the president of the country, so still he has some sort of scope. We are not sure what will be the outcome, but the thing is, at least he can take some initiatives. And still there are some sort of understanding and initiative we can take, the third party mediation, which are applied in different sort of way in different parts of the world. Definitely it's a conflicting situations and volatile situations, and in these situations sometimes third party mediation is very important and necessary when we can't come up with our own solution.
Third party means, please specify it.
We may, it depends on the attitude or the desire of the government mostly. They can, seek some help from United Nations. They can seek help from some global powers, and they can come up with their own decisions and own initiatives in the mediating table. And these things are very important and successful in some ways, but the thing is desire, attitude, these things matters here. If you in real sense would like to come up with some solution, still there are ways. But the thing is, you need to understand the situation of the country, the situation of the general people, the role of the global powers, and what will be the outcome in near future. If we are going to ignore anything and don't seek some sort of suggestions, mediation, or negotiating initiatives for the third parties and other stakeholders, because it's a global village now, it matters. Otherwise, maybe it would be very difficult to handle in some ways.
Thank you very much. Professor Kalimullah, it is on record, the office of the president has been made importantly, and he cannot play any role without advice from Prime Minister or the head of the government. Under these circumstances, we don't like to expect anything from the chair. Reality is this: mediation, negotiation, third party. And do you believe any scope for third party?
Well, situation creates leadership. We know about the traditional style, we know about the charismatic style, but situation also matters sometime. If we come up with a stalemate situation and impasse on a permanent basis, then the life stands still, and we cannot sort of function as a state in normal sense of the term. So in such circumstances, there must be some breakthrough, and either there must be a homegrown solution, or we may end up having an international solution.
Suppose there is no solution, homegrown or internationally, then what next?
Stalemate continues.
And that is not peace but conflict.
It's true.
Chairman of the Department of Peace and Conflict Studies of Dhaka Universities, Professor Kalimullah, is almost to the conclusion, either peace or conflict. How do you explain this?
Yes, the situation is something like that. This is the time we need to take some initiatives, and still I believe that there are some ways where you can come up with solution. This is not the end of everything, but the thing is desire matters, and the most important thing, whether you are understanding the situation in a proper way or not. And this government, they successfully run 15 years, and they have a huge support. In the last a few days back, there are a study of Professor Abul Barakat where he identified that this government has a very good, important potentiality to come up with a huge majority. So in this situation, this is important to deal with the international community and ensure the space for the opposition. It is important because we are very worried, because we are working with elections, very worried about the voter rights, the free and fair election mechanisms. These things are very important. Otherwise, there is always a question. And this time, I am not that sure that international community will be convinced if we are going to operate the election mechanisms in such a way. This is important.
Thank you very much. My last asking to you, Professor Sabir Ahmed Choudhury, in a very eloquent way, he says, is space for the opposition. How do you explain this?
Well, democracy means to me plural space, and there must be space for voice of dissent. Without that, democracy is meaningless. One party rule is not the solution. There must be peaceful coexistence of different shades and colors of opinion. And in a truly functioning democracy, there must be voice of dissent.
This is your explanation.
Yep.
Do you foresee any such landscape in front of you?
Well, I'm a positive person, and in the past we could successfully cross the hurdles. So in the near future, eventually there will be a breakthrough, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. What is your concluding remarks?
We are thinking that this situation will be changed, and all the parties will understand what will be their role, and the most important thing, the ensuring human rights, voting rights of the people. We need a country where sustainable development needs to be ensured, the freedom of the people, the voice of the people will be very important in our everyday life.
Thank you very much. Professor Kalimullah, it is a time to end this talk show. Before that, what is the message?
My message is that we should stand up for our rights, democratic rights, and we must try our best to create a plural society.
Well, thank you very much. Well, viewers, we are about to end this talk show, and before ending this talk show, I would like to summarize what the guests here expressed. Both of them speak very loudly, clearly, and explain from their own standpoints, because basically they are professors. They are our pride, and they are holding big positions in Dhaka University, and they are well known to all. And one of them is Mr. Sabir Ahmed Choudhury. He is the chairman, Department of Peace and Conflict. And my question to him, what is peace? What is the resolution? He tried to answer his own way, and that is very much logical. At the same time, Professor Kalimullah, who is known as a regular travel in the field of talk shows, and perhaps he has made more than 5,000 talk shows by this time. I don't know, maybe.
More than that.
More than that. So, he is a speaker. He can speak on many things. He also explained, he also believed there is a silver lining, and he is an optimistic man. And both of them are very much optimistic from their own standpoint of view. And I myself believe that Bangladesh will not face any catastrophe which can take us to behind, backward. We are moving forward, and we will be on going forward, and very soon conflict resolution will arise in the political firmament of Bangladesh, and that is the desire of all. And let us pray to Almighty Allah for better Bangladesh. Thank you very much. Welcome.